I mean, investors are really looking to Amgen to really guide for this year. I think 2019 is a pretty pivotal year for the company in terms of where their legacy products are going. One of the big uncertainties that we've always had here is what sort of impact do biosimilars in the U.S. market wind up having. Neulasta is sort of really one of the hallmark drugs to come under biosimilar competition. There's 2 out right now. So people will really be looking to Amgen to provide guidance on how much of a decline we could see for Neulasta. I think people are expecting some decline, but anytime a company's signature product starts to see material declines in sales in this sector, it has had pretty impactful results to the downside. So I think that's what people will really be focused on. As you also brought up, AbbVie last week guided down for Humira sales. Enbrel is a very similar drug. They compete in the same class of RA medications. So what Amgen has to say on Enbrel, whether or not they will need to make similar guidance downwards for 2019 will be a bit of a focus here. As far as fourth quarter numbers, I don't expect anything too impactful. I think the focus is really going to be on what the outlook for the year is.
How big of a concern is a biosimilar to Enbrel? I know people aren't expecting that for another year and a half or so, 2 years, but that was at the heart of the Evercore downgrade today. And of course, as you had mentioned, that's a big part of what will be the Neulasta story, biosimilar competition.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the class of drugs, Enbrel, and the class of drugs of Neulasta are a little bit separate in terms of what potential impact biosimilars can have. The TNFs, of which Enbrel is a class, there's a tendency, certainly in the U.S., to have very long-term use of a single drug. Neulasta, there's a lot more just natural switching. It's more of a temporary therapeutic, so it caters a little more to competitive dynamics. But we're certainly seeing, again, with AbbVie ex-U.S., very significant impact to Humira. So I think that bleeds a little bit into the concerns for Enbrel. I don't think it's as acute of focus for investors as Neulasta is, though.
There's been a rush to cancer treatments and, in fact, acquisitions of companies that make cancer treatments. Is that the growth area right now that you would look at most?
It's sort of a mixed bag. I mean, certainly there's a lot of money that's been put into developing cancer therapeutics. Obviously, Bristol and Merck have had a big battle in the non-small cell lung cancer space with PD-1s. I think it's very hard to predict what's going to be the next area. It's not the area that I think is the most favorable for investment right now, just because it's a little opaque as to what the next therapy to kind of match the Keytruda-Opdivo battle is going to be, and there's been a number of disappointments in companies looking for that sort of therapeutic area.
Brian, what about the dialogue on drug pricing? How does that overhang the sector, if it does?
I think it's been kind of a permanent overhang since 2015. It has periods of getting ramped up and ramped down. Certainly, we've seen the federal government go back to work, and I think there was a Senate committee this morning on drug pricing. There was a congressional committee later in the day on drug pricing, so it certainly remains a key area of focus. And whether it's the Trump administration with populist rhetoric or some on the DNC side with populist rhetoric, it certainly seems prime for targeting. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see some sort of movement, as it seems to be the only place where maybe the executive branch and the Democrats find some common ground.